Good morning, Zio here, and today we'll be talking about when the developers have no idea how their game is actually played. So, grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, we're talking about World of Warcraft. That looks funny on my screen. Eh. Anyway, we're talking about World of Warcraft today because, yeah. Anyway, apparently the WoW team, or the World of Warcraft team, posted this blue post not that long ago, August 27th, right? And they plan to bring in many features that players have been wanting, which is great. That's lovely. That's awesome. However, the problem is here, this is how you find out that your developers have no idea how their game actually functions. So, if you've been following, and definitely if you've watched the Final Fantasy versus World of Warcraft series that I have been doing, you've probably heard me say systems upon systems upon systems, right? Because that is one of the downfalls, or one of the worst things about World of Warcraft is their development team has gotten into this habit of making a system for a system for a system for a system, and all these systems tie into player power. And no matter what it is that you want to do, you have to participate in all of these systems if you actually really want to shine in the thing that you want to do. If you want to do PvP, you've got to participate in the systems available to increase your power from, say, Torghast weekly and burning yourself out on it, just so you can increase your legendary level to a number of other things with different point values from renowned and all this other stuff. Just a bunch of asinine things, right? Because everything is tied into your player's power, and they seem to think that that's what people want to play. Meanwhile, over on, say, Final Fantasy 14, outside the MSQ, you don't have to really do anything. Nothing feels like it's forced to. There's in-game gear, of course, that you can go grind for and go after, you know, and things like that. But outside of that, you're not forced to constantly do their version of Torghast, right? Which they've had for a long time at this point. And it's a lot of fun, especially if you're bored, you want to go do something. Maybe you got a few characters to level up, you can go do, or you can do, say, Palace of the Dead, try and hit that 200 mark and get that very, very, very rare achievement of doing that, and the title that goes along with it and such. You don't have to go and do that. It's not like they're forcing you into the Palace of the Dead so you can get some kind of special currency, which then is going to increase your max level characters, special item, and that sort of thing right there. You can go and do it whenever you feel like it. When it comes to World of Warcraft, on the other hand, no, you've got to do that. And that's one of the things I really, really wish the developers of WoW would recognize and figure out. But they have finally released this blue post giving players the changes they want. And of course, they're doing it now probably because of the bleeding of subscribers that they have had. It is undeniable. There's been a shift in how many people legitimately still play World of Warcraft, and it's way lower than it should have been after all this stuff, because when you get hit with that straw that hits the breaks the camel's back thing, I'm not awake yet. It's super early, and usually my videos are out by 3 a.m. and they're not today because I didn't record it, and I've been at work the past few days and all this other stuff. But anyway, also, of course, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Follow me on the Twitters, the TikToks. There's a Facebook page that I generally stream to on Friday nights. That sort of thing. So, you're probably asking yourself at this point, Z, you said they don't know what they're talking, they don't know how to play their game, right? So the developers seem to have this way that they want us to play the game. And normally, in normal circumstances, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with developers creating a game for you to play a certain way. whether it's difficulty or something else, and that's their vision. This generally applies to more single player titles, of course. Anything that's story driven, that's really, really narrative driven. And when it comes to something like a MMO, things are a bit different, right? You can still have your story, you can still have the things that you want the players to experience. However, at the same time, you've got to give players things that they really enjoy doing, things they find fun, find challenging, and other stuff without trying to force them into every single system that you have available just because you think that's how they should do. But seriously, we're going to look at this for a second. We're not going to read the whole thing. It is a decently long post, and I'm not awake to read this entire thing, but they've got things that players have been essentially asking for since beta testing this current expansion. Conduit energy is finally being removed. Does that affect most people? No, it does not. As for a majority of us, conduit energy, the fact that it was just limited was really acidine to begin with, but we don't change it enough to really be that big of an issue, and it needed to be removed anyway. It's one of those things. It's like, why did you waste time developing this system when it's not necessary? And it is finally, being removed. Of course, they also said that Shadowlands was going to be the most alt-friendly expansion they have ever had in years, and the problem is it hasn't been yet. Right? So they are finally making those changes about a year later. So, a little late on that. But when playing alternative characters, if you've already completed the Covenant campaign on a different character, you'll be able to immediately earn the Renown and Third Soul Binds unlocks unless needed to replay unlock without needing to replay the full narrative arc. See, that would be cool. That would be great. Wish it was like that this whole time, but hey, if you could just join the Covenant you want it and skip all that boring stuff that you've already done up to wherever your main character is, that would have been the better way to do it. But this one here, this is where I say they have no idea how World of Warcraft is even played, how their systems work whatsoever. They're doing some changes to time walking, of course, and other stuff as well. But once you reach a high renowned threshold, you will thereafter be able to freely switch among any of the 4 covenants without cooldowns or restrictions, as well as use cosmetic rewards that you have earned from one covenant, even if you are currently a member of a different one. Both covenant switching and the use of cosmic rewards will also apply to alts once the renown threshold is reached on one character. Now, this is a thing that everybody's been saying should have been done from the start. It's a thing that they said in beta needed to go away. So, what did Blizzard do? They said, okay, you can swap covenants, right? We're not going to lock you into it permanently. You'll be able to swap covenants. However, you're going to have to do a few quests, and you're going to have like this weekly lockout. Once you do it, you can't go back for at least a week. And, while you're doing the main story, they sort of give you a taste of the covenants, right? No, before you actually hit max level, get through all the zones story wise, and then you're forced to pick one, you sort of get this taste of it with, because they all have different abilities depending on, what's going on. The downside is, of course, is balancing and stuff, which they are still struggling with, which is another thing they mentioned, I think, in here as well, or maybe it was another one where they talk about balancing. But, regardless of what you want, with everything revolving around player power, may not be what you get, right? Like, the Night Fae, they're fun, they're nice, I enjoy them, but I much rather be with a completely different covenant, just for the transmog stuff. However, Night Fae has the best ability for my druid to ever have, ever, in my opinion. I call it the druid Gatling gun because it shoots off a number of spells as a balanced druid, depending on where you are to your target, depending on which ones fire off. So you could have multiple moonfires going off, a like Star Surge after Star Surge after Star Surge going off, Wraths and other stuff, or if you're right next to them, you could have Thrashes and other things from your Feral side going off, so you're not only applying your dots, but you're also applying bleeds and other things, and this thing can melt people. Like, no joke. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've waited for that thing to come off cooldown just so I can go ahead and make sure I get some damage on this guy real quick, hit the "you're dead" button, and watch them die. Balancing horribly on that, but hey, whatever. If I swap to another Covenant, that is going to seriously reduce the fun that I'm having with that one ability alone, but I'm not too crazy about their transmogs and yada yada. Anyway, so, the abilities are fun. They're great to play with, and each one has different things. However, there are like a best in slot for it, and that sucks. You can't really mix and match what you want to do, go for the transmog that you want while having the abilities that you really want and stuff like that. Point is, I've rambled on way too long on this. This is how you know they don't play their game, right? Once you reach a high enough renown threshold, you are thereafter be able to freely switch among any of the 4 covenants without cooldown restrictions. Now we'll come down. When it comes to the limitations of covenant switching, millions of players experiencing Shadowlands for the first time through the lens of their covenant of choice, and that would not have been possible had the choice carried less weight from the outset. Okay, so this requires you to know a little bit about Renowned, I guess, in order to actually fully understand it. Renowned is a level attached to your covenant by doing things with the covenant. You can only go up so many Renowned each week because they were drip feeding the entire storyline to the covenants each week. So essentially what is going on is you can, get the first 5 levels of Renowned on week 1, and so on and so forth. I don't remember the exact numbers, so don't quote me on those. I'm using these as examples. So, say week 1 of Shadowlands, you can get up to Renowned level 5. Week 2, you can get to Renowned level 10. Week 3, you can get to Renowned level 14. Week 5, you can get to Renowned level 16, so on and so forth, because of how they were drop feeding these things. So you got like a good 30-45 minutes worth of new content to have access to, but essentially you weren't able to progress further than that. Now, if Renowned is tied to swapping your covenant, and say you need a level 70 Renowned or whatever the max actually is going to be or turned out to be, then regardless of what's going on, the dog has showed up. Regardless of what's going on, you're never going to be able to actually hit the threshold to swap covenants willy-nilly and freely until you hit that threshold, and at that point you've completed, more than likely they've set it up to where you've completed your covenant quest lines to that point. Therefore, you still would have experienced the entire expansion through your covenant of choice, regardless of being able to swap when you hit that threshold whenever you wanted to. And that's how you know they don't know what their game does or played the game. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll talk to you later. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.